I think now it started, and I could see from the attendee list that first English speaking persons didn't want to wait for the session to start, but no matter. Let's have this now. So this is like the first time doing parallel session. So traditionally, this concept has been only in Finnish, and once in a while, now for some reason, like 3 weeks in a row, there has been a request for English version of the same content. So I know that most of the people are Finnish, and that's going to be a thing in future because that's kind of the idea of the whole concept. But if you are not native Finnish speaking person and you find this valuable, then please join, and also in future, and also give me feedback, because otherwise I think that no one will be there, and then it makes no sense to have the session in English. Anyway, as the request was, let's have this session also. Onelake. Last week we had a session about fabric in general, and of course it was in Finnish, but there we touched like the elephant in the hole, that what does it include. But now going forward for the next 20 weeks or so, we will cover each section or functionality of the fabric like in more detail. Of course, first in more general level, and then like week after week going in a more detailed within any topic. So if you are listening this from the YouTube, please like look forward for the next sections, and please kind of watch them in an order, because I would think that next one will be based always on the previous one. Okay, but what is Onelake? Microsoft tells that Onelake is OneDrive for data. What does it mean is that within an organization, there is only one Onelake. Technically, I think it's one Onelake per Azure tenant, but many organizations only have one tenant. How do you provision, or when will you have a Onelake? It will be there if you have any workload within a fabric that saves data into the storage. So SQL warehouse, and you create a first table. Lakehouse, and you create a table. KQL, Custo database, you will have it. So kind of it's automatically provisioned per Azure AD tenant, and that's it. It uses Azure AD authentication for everything. So and currently it inherits to user access from the workspace level. So in Fabric, when you create a workspace, then you will automatically create a folder in a Onelake, and that folder will have user access rights based on the user access rights of the workspace. So Onelake has a fixed folder hierarchy for some of its parts, and then more flexible on other parts. But like it's not like completely free or kind of, I would like to say it's open, but not like there are some restrictions and constraints how you have to name things or how things are being named. But on the other hand, you also have what's called a files section, where you can put whatever data you have, and then of course access that data with the proper tool on top of the fabric. first, inside Onelake, the first entity we have is a workspace. So when you inside a fabric, I have here a fabric workspace. If on the fabric you create a new workspace, that will be available in your Onelake as a folder. So Onelake is possible to use with an add-on from Microsoft, which integrates to the Windows Explorer. So here I have it. And if I go to the main level of the hierarchy, I can see that these are the workspaces I have access to. And then this is that workspace. I open that one. And then inside there, I have certain objects. Each warehouse creates a folder. Each lakehouse, like here, creates a folder. I'm not allowed to create folders on this level of the hierarchy. But if I look inside a lakehouse, for example, I can see few like predefined folders. One is for tables, one is for files. If I look inside the tables, I can see that there's a table called item. And that's actually a real table in my lakehouse. So if I look inside an item, I can see that's a delta table. And in my lakehouse, that's a delta table also. If I look at warehouse, let's take this warehouse. And inside the tables, because in the SQL Server, you have a schema and then table. I see a schema folder. I only have one schema now. That's why it's a DBO. And inside that, I have all the tables I have in that warehouse, which is basically a database. And if I look inside a single table, I can see that that's a delta table. The Parquet files are here. So that's kind of the predefined structure of the warehouse and lakehouse. And then the kind of free structure is always underneath the files section. So if I open the lakehouse, there is a files section. I will open that one. And from here, I can create new folder, P1, and then it's being automatically synced to the Onelake. So files section is the free section you can use as you want. Okay. Onelake is also Data Lake Gen 2 compatible. And what does that mean is that you can use Azure Storage Explorer and open the workspace, and from the workspace you can see all the same entities, and from there you can see warehouses and lakehouses, and from there, if I open the lakehouse, and the file section, I should see the same structure as I see here. And from there, I can upload and download files as I want. How performant the Onelake is that I just did before this demo or this session a kind of test run, and when downloading files from the Onelake, I got speeds from 300 to 600 megabytes per second. So I would say pretty good. And when uploading, it was my internet connection that was constraining the upload speed. So I get 1 gig of upload. That's what I get from the Onelake. So definitely a very efficient and kind of fast storage system. Inside Onelake, copying from folder to folder, like for example using Spark, I've achieved something like 4 gigabytes per second speed. So kind of quite good. Of course, I'm only using the resources I have, so potentially it could be even more, but that's what I've already got. Okay, so if the first folder in the Onelake is workspace, if you have multiple premium capacities or fabric capacities, I think we should call them, and all fabric capacities are always tied to the location. So Onelake will honor the location. If you have a fabric capacity in East US and you have a workspace then that's been binded to the that capacity, then all of your data is at East US. So kind of workspace level, you can define where the data should be, and it will not go outside of that boundary. So if you have any GDPR or some other fancy 3 or 4 letter acronyms to follow, you can use multiple capacities to do the trick. Okay, so in the Finnish version of the session, we had a discussion on how to access things and kind of how the access rights go. So as of now, you are granting the access from the manage access part. So if you grant here accesses to external persons, I don't know, how can you close this like this? Then they will see that first level folder on whatever tool they want to use, and then kind of get access to your data. In future, Microsoft has already described that the granting access will be more granular. So you potentially can grant access for databases or warehouses or lake houses type of things. But that's, as of today, it's a workspace level. So if you grant the workspace, it will get all the warehouses, but unfortunately on the workspace or lakehouse level, you don't have a sharing capability, or as far as I know, as of today on the day of recording. But that's it. So and all the data in the Onelake, as described, the workloads that are top of the Onelake, this kind of standard workloads, they use Delta as the data format. So that's why we always want to use the Delta when going forward. And Microsoft talks about one copy. One copy means that we can create what's called a shortcut, and then shortcut to the same data, even though they are in a different workspaces. So if you on another workspace create a shortcut to data that sits on another workspace, it's exactly as it would be on that other workspace where you're kind of creating the link from, but it's not being copied. So, and all the security is still in place, so you cannot bypass the security constraints, but kind of easy share. You don't have to grant everyone to your workspace. You just use it as your own, and then share to people you want to use your data, and they can, from their own workspace, kind of add on top of that data and use the entities as they were in their own workspace. Good. Thank you. for being here, and let's look forward for the next week.